What's going on, Metalheads? Thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson, and I am your host, back under the red lights in the Metal Forge, back here doing sleeveless shirts again, check local listings, because by the time I'm recording this, it's a massive-ass fucking storm outside, and
I'm so
Jason's
jealous.
here. You're jealous. Listen to you. Here I've got like fucking 8 inches of snow on the ground and it's still coming down. Blizzard of 2025. Jason Gardner from the Heavy Metal Wasteland, the Ale-Horn, is here this week. Again, Mr. Co-host. Speaking of the Heavy Metal Wasteland, hang on. Defeated Sanity is our guest this week. Total old school metal, dig it. And but we've got an actual Heavy Metal Wasteland segment that's airing live as we talk right now. Jason, take it away, man. This is like it's like the first video Heavy Metal Wasteland, I think.
Yeah, well, I got two things. One serious, one not really that big a deal. It just annoys me. So I'll do the serious one first, just get out of the way. So here in the area, there was a pretty bad crash New Year's Eve down in South Carolina, which is pretty close to where I'm at, relatively speaking. And the drummer for Vorath, who was actually born in this area, in the WNC area, and 3 passengers were instantly killed. 3 of them had small kids, and there's a GoFundMe set up. So if you want to look up the name for, I got it right here, Joshua Ward.
Listed below.
Yeah, Joshua Ward is the drummer for Vorath, and his passengers were Audrey Maris Ross and Amanda Lynn Leroux. And there's a 4th person whose name I can't find, but there should be GoFundMe's for all 4 of them. So if you can spare a few bucks, it'll definitely help out with like the kids at least, because by the time this airs, the funerals should have happened already. So yeah, it sucks. And the piece of shit who did this name is Nicholas Shane Meeks. So if you want to send some prison mail with some like fresh feces in it and shit, feel free to send him your worst stuff. Yeah, because he fucking deserves it. Anyone who drinks and drives, when you're that fucked up, it doesn't deserve second chances, in my opinion. And if he had a second chance, he wouldn't have done this, because this was his second offense in less than a year. Going 100 miles an hour in a residential neighborhood. So,
and the other thing with this too is like, who in their right mind said, yeah, he's cool to drive?
It's the same justice system. It's the same justice system that one psycho that Michael went to school with. He shot some cops. They shot a cop at the police station. They let him out. Then he ended up killing another girl and killing a retired police chief in a fiery wreck and stuff. It's like, man, come on! Like these sentences need to be harsh for a reason. Because when these people just get a slap on the wrist, this is how they act.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's not fair to. It's just not fair to innocent people just going out on New Year's Eve, or just driving home from his second job, or whatever the case, or just being an unfortunate circumstance of being in a car with a psycho gets stabbed to death.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Like, I don't believe in blanket punishments for every crime, like for everybody, but when it's bad enough the first time, that should be your red flag that this dude should probably be locked up.
Right. I get what you're saying. Yeah, so like I said, there will be a link listed below to the GoFundMe page, assuming by the time this interview airs that it's still available.
Should be.
Or by the time this show comes out, hopefully it will be.
Yeah, it should be.
So you have another topic that you said is a less serious.
Yeah, this is kind of lighthearted, but it's still annoying at the same time. So I would like to tell Discogs to get the fuck over themselves with their constant fucking logging people out and making them sign in for something as meaningless as a fucking registry of vinyl. Like, I don't have this many problems with shit that actually has a social security number on it. But for some reason, Discogs is always thinks they have to be safety oriented, and I always have to log in this fucking shit. It pisses me off to no end. All I want to do is add one goddamn record I got for Christmas. And here I am fucking logging in, doing fucking verifications, all this other shit. Like, dude, Discogs, get the fuck over yourself. And just fucking keep me logged in on my goddamn phone. That's all I ask. I mean, seriously, that's too much to ask, you know?
You're not wrong. ASCAP is the same way. I wish ASCAP would let me stay logged in, at least to one of my accounts, whether it be my publisher or my writer account.
Right.
But no, they're the same way, and they're always like, oh, two-factor authentication and shit like that. And it's like, motherfucker, I just want to check the 19 cents of royalties that I'm getting against this shit. You know, fucking.
At least the ASCAP, though, you have to put your social in, you know.
Oh, do you have to do that at Discogs?
No, that's all I'm saying. Why do I gotta log in every time I get on this fucking app?
Oh,
just to log a fucking record, you know?
Yeah, I'm the old school way with this. I keep especially for like the 200 disc changer, I keep a pad and paper with what's in what slot.
Right.
But I don't really just keep an online registry of what I have. Maybe I should, you know. But then again, I have a ton of digital.
Yeah. I mean, you can do vinyl, CDs, and tapes. Anything that has a barcode, basically.
Sure.
The only thing I don't like
is... the reason why that is so they can pinpoint lineage of copy.
Mm-hmm.
Like for example, the green version of Ride the Lightning from France.
Right.
So they have the barcodes for that and so on and so forth. They know that whatever barcode is, they know where it was printed and what market it was released. But it's so wild to find like South American copies of old school Metallica things in like used stores, or old school thrash that are like these weird like European or South American prints that have found their way to like thrift stores in America, which is so wild to me, and I love that shit. There was I had a book one time, and it was the complete works of Nirvana is what it was. And I bought it at a used shop because I was just like, this looks pretty cool. Because it had like all of the notes that Kurt had written about like the math of like, okay, it's going to take us 13 reels of tape to record this 30-minute album. And like he had it down to like the last sliver of tape being used type shit. But it also had the lineage, like all of the barcodes, like check out like 86309P, and you know what I'm saying. It had like the thing in there where it would show where it was printed at and how many of them were printed out of that factory, and just all this weird like knowledge.
Right. Yeah. Know what you mean, but. Actually, the bad part about the Discogs barcode stuff is like they still don't tell you which one you have. You have to like go through the options until you find the one you have. So basically, it's just like a shortcut to that listing, and then you have to go through the listing of all the variants and choose the one that you have.
I will say this: if they are big enough to be on the Metal Archives, you can do the same thing there, and probably find it faster. Seriously, go under there, go under Metallica, look at Kill 'Em All. It will list every print of Kill 'Em All that was an official print. And it goes from the original print in 1983 all the way until now. To like the remastered shit that just came out a few years ago with the box sets.
Right.
And if they've done any remasters or reprints since then. I think they did a Digipack only print or whatever. But yeah, I see what you're saying. That's stupid that you have to do that. The comic book shit's the same way though. Like when you go under comic registry and shit, because especially like when you get to like a book that they're gonna run 1 million copies of,
Right.
like Spider-Man number 800, and they have 29 different variant covers and shit of different artists, and it's like numbers, variant cover A through, and then it's like double A, double B, double C, double D.
Right.
Hang on, wait a minute. We just turned into a different show all of a sudden.
That red light must have done something to your train of thought or something, you know?
It did. I mean, maybe I need to watch 48 Hours after this.
Maybe.
Have Eddie Murphy screaming into the jail cell just like he did. So what else you got, Jason? I mean, we're a couple episodes into 2025. Blizzard of the year here for me. You know, you're jealous of the blizzard. I'm sorry. We could trade places for a couple of days.
I mean, I only like blizzards the first time it happens. Once the snow trucks hit it and it fucks everything up, it turns all nasty. I don't really care. But that first day when it's just like undisturbed and everything, and everything's like quiet and shit, you know, it's like that's my shit right there. But the second day after it starts getting grody, it's like, yeah, I'm good.
Oh yeah, when it's like nasty brown snow.
Yeah. Once the salt trucks hit it, that's about it for it. But
yeah, that's the nastiest stuff. So I am probably getting what's considered a blizzard for you.
I mean, we've had feet before. I mean, I've lived through a blizzard back in '93. We got like 4.5 feet.
Well, that's because when that happened, everybody got it.
Right. So I mean, so a few inches doesn't scare me off. I'm down for a good 6 to 12.
Yeah, that's about what we've got here. I've got a 5-gallon bucket on my back porch, and when I sent you the picture earlier, it was all but about a He-Man figures tall from the top of the bucket, from the bottom of the bucket.
No toy photography in the snow with
oh no, I didn't fucking even.
Yeah.
I opened the door. I always every time I do that, I always think of the close the door, or I'm gonna go throw rocks at your window, you dumb whore.
Right.
When I always when I say something about the door, no, I opened the door for about 12 seconds, and that was because I looked out back to see what it was doing, because it was sleeting intermittently between snowing. So even better.
They're calling for a little bit of weather overnight tonight. I don't know if it's gonna be enough to cancel school or delay it. So my morning right now is kind of up in the air. I guess I'll just get up at 6:30 and see what's up and go from there. So.
Well, I am totally gonna be that guy that is here today at work in the morning, because I literally live a 3-minute drive / 15-minute walk from work. Obviously, yeah, I could walk if I wanted to, but do I want to? I mean, Jeff, sorry. Sorry in advance and in the past that if I don't show up tomorrow, no, I'll show up, because unless he texts me, I'm pretty much there.
Have you told everybody how close you live, or?
Oh yeah, they know how close I live.
See, that's something I wouldn't say to use that to my advantage. Like, they don't. I guess they can look at the address on your fucking application.
Yeah, but I didn't have an application. I've worked there before.
Gotcha.
Oh yeah, for sure. So from Defeated Sanity, the 224 release. Listen to me, sounding like an old man here. 2004, baby. No, the 2024 most recent release, Chronicles of Lunacy. Totally fucking cool album, out on Season of Mist. We're gonna listen to Jason. Till next week. See you then.
Hey, man.
All right, metalheads, we are being joined right now with Jacob from Defeated Sanity. Dude, what is going on?
Hey, how's it going, man? Good to be here.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, as we're recording this, we're a few days away from the release of the new album, but by the time this is getting released, it'll have happened about a month or so ago. Uh, and you're actually around, you're going to be the first guest of 2025. So welcome to the new Metal Forge for the
Wow,
new year. For the new
little
year.
new year.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in. Shout outs to Will for getting everything in line and making sure we could actually get it done.
Hell yeah, Will. Good man.
uh yeah, so what's going on? How's the end of 2024? How is it treating you so far?
Yeah, a little bit of a little bit of a gap in touring, but no shortage of band activities, obviously, with this album coming out. So it's been quite busy. Been at home since August, which was our last Asia tour. And yeah, actually, personally, I'm recovering from a little surgery procedure I had done on my hand, so I had to take a complete break off music, work, everything for about 6 weeks. But now I'm back to playing and working and basically doing everything. But yeah, just kind of dealing with this album release kind of on the daily with apart from like doing interviews like this one and having to send things around and everybody wants something. Can you send me a band photo here? And you know how it goes.
Sure,
And
sure, sure. Yeah.
so there's
Everybody's like,
just
hey, can you get this? Can you get that? Can you do this?
it's
Can you do
yeah,
that?
it's like that. My inbox every day I wake up, so I'm on American time here. I live in California now. So I wake up and Europe has been at it all night while I was sleeping. So I'm waking up to a bunch of stuff I need to get back to pretty much every day. But yeah, it's exciting, especially we had now a little bit of fan contact where we already presented the album. We had a listening party on Bandcamp
Sure.
a couple weeks ago, and then had another one just a few days ago because a lot of people in Europe and other places in the world weren't able to attend the first one because it was kind of central to an American time zone and it just didn't really work for them. So we did another one. Funny enough, a lot of Americans joined into that one too, even though it was early morning for them. But
You know,
so we got
that's funny. I did that with
yeah,
Lucifer earlier this year.
cool.
They had a listening party and it was at I think it was at 9 o'clock Stockholm time.
Yeah,
And
9
so it was
a.m.
like no
or
PM,
p.m. p.m.
9
Gotcha.
p.m. their time.
Yeah.
And it was like 3 p.m. for me. And I
Yeah.
was just like, oh man, I've got to do this though. This is such a rad thing, you know?
That's
And
not so bad. It was like 11 a.m. for me here.
wow, yes. Yeah, because
Yeah,
you said you were in California, but before we get there's a few things in there I want to talk about.
of course.
First, you said you had just recovered from hand surgery.
Uh-huh.
Talk about terrifying being a musician that plays, uses
No,
your
man.
hands.
I've been holding off on it for a long time, and I mean, I still won't really know if it completely makes my issue go away. So I've had an issue for about a year and a half, dating to the date of the surgery. So it started all in the beginning of last year, 2023. And it started with a little injury, minor thing. I thought, kind of overextended, bent the finger a little bit. I felt
Ooh,
something snap a little bit and it didn't feel right. But, usually like you rested a day or two and it's fine. Like it's not the first time I work with my hands and I, do things with my hands. Shit like that happens and it's not immediately concerning. But anyway, it just didn't get better for weeks and weeks. And after 6 weeks or so, I finally went to a doctor and orthopedic surgeon. And he was looking at it and moving my finger and says, well, you might be like in the beginning, you have like the symptoms of like the beginning of a trigger finger syndrome.
hmm.
I'm like, that's because I couldn't like fully extend it without pain, and it was weird. It didn't get locked or anything. Like when it's more advanced, the condition, the finger actually gets locked in a how do you say in a curled position.
Yeah,
So it
where
didn't get
yeah.
so far, but it was just pain and limit of motion, and it led to me not being able to do certain things on my instrument. So I had to adjust my playing and it just wouldn't get any better. So because at the time I had shows lined up, I was about to play Milwaukee Metal Fest, and I said, okay, can you just give me like a shot, like a steroid shot, like kind of ease the pain so I can keep going? And he did, and it was fine. It made it go away for a while. We were back on tour. We did a whole summer U.S. tour, and I came back, and the pain came back too. And
Hmm.
he already said, okay, well, those shots, I can keep giving you those, but it's not like each shot's gonna wear off quicker, and it's not
Sure.
gonna be a solution. It's just a temporary fix. We need to find like if it is what I think it is, we'll need to find a gap and do surgery at some point. And that was terrifying to me. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. I'll just hope for it to go away and give me another shot. So he gave me another shot, and it lasted. Yeah, fine. Like everything is great all of a sudden, right? And like 4 or 5 months later, it comes back, and it's the same thing it was the first time. So anyway, after like 3 shots, I finally had now enough time in between the tour we just did in the summer and this next tour that's in starting in January. I had a 4 months window. I said, okay, let's go ahead, let's do it. He convinced me it's a high success rate. The recovery is like 99%. It's like, and it's your only shot of getting rid of this in the long term.
Sure.
So I said, okay, let's do it. Like I don't quite believe it any until I really see it, but I this is my best shot to do it right now. I have time to recover, and then not just to recover, but also to get back into practicing and all that, which takes a little bit of time too, of course. So anyway, so I did it. Still in recovery. It's like I cannot fully extend it, but it's almost there. It's 90% there. I still have a little bit of pain plucking hard, popping the strings. It's still very uncomfortable. I just don't do that yet. I can finger pick just fine, and that's what I do right now for playing. Um, so yeah, I'm hoping that by the time January comes around, I'm 100% back. But it looks like it could be up to a year till you're really fully recovered from this.
Understandable. And again, that's a terrifying thing to, being somebody who you A, works with your hands, and B, such being a musician that, you know, and playing that the technical metal that you all do play, there is a
Yeah,
lot going on.
that
So
is, I think, part of the issue,
yeah,
honestly.
and I had tendonitis in my
Okay.
picking hand, and
Mm-hmm.
it was bad enough to where it would do the same thing. I would get the steroid shot, and the first time it's like 6 months, and then like
Mm-hmm.
clockwork wore off. Luckily enough, it's been like 2 years now, and this one hasn't worn off. So
Okay. That's good.
that's
That's
I
great.
get hopefully, and I don't get it back and have to go to
Mm-hmm.
surgery. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was like pulling my hand around, like I couldn't even rotate. As soon as I
Mm-hmm.
get to like right here, it would like felt like somebody just twisted my wrist. It was
Yeah.
terrible feeling. So yeah, and
Yeah.
the weird thing is like it didn't affect, because I play with a pick a lot of times, but it didn't
Okay.
affect the picking.
Right.
It, as long as I didn't go overextend it backwards or
Mm-hmm.
something. And
Yeah.
just
Yeah. No,
the
that's,
the the body is so weird when it comes to that stuff.
man, it's like I feel it's there's so many reasons. So apart from the little injury that I had, I mean, like I said, I've done things like that before and I've recovered just fine. So why did this one turn into
Sure.
something bigger? Honestly, I think it's a combination of aging, you
Hmm.
know. Obviously,
True.
there's always genetics involved, and surely, but I think it's aging and it's also just the how demanding the music is that we play, where I used to be able to just pick up the bass and go at it and not worry about it. But now that I'm in my late 30s,
You had to warm
I
up.
have to do these stretches and all that stuff. And I wasn't really like prepared for that. So I think that part of what made this worse is that I just have not fully yet understood until that happened, until now, basically, that I can't just do that anymore. I need to do my stretches before and after. I need to warm up. I need to really like take care of my body because this stuff we play is so demanding. It's so much workload on every muscle and every tendon in the hand.
Sure.
You have to just respect that and give it a proper routine.
And that's one of the things that I don't think a lot of people give credit to musicians for, is how physically demanding it can actually be to stand on stage and do things, because again, technical ability aside, because that's a big
Yeah.
part of it too. You also, it's just like any other work environment, you know,
Yeah.
making sure you wear the right shoes because the stage might feel like concrete, and you
Hmm.
know, or you know, just even stuff like that, because
Absolutely.
yeah, we're not getting any younger.
No, no, you gotta take care of your body. You gotta protect your hearing. You have to kind
What?
of treat it
Wait,
like an
what'd you say?
right.
Ah,
It's
gotta
like
do
an
it
athlete, you
anytime, man.
know?
It's like the joke that
Yeah,
always happens.
right, right. No, but it's so true though. It's like you're like an athlete, and everybody knows an athlete has a certain prime, in which the physical body is forgiving,
Sure.
and then after that, it you have to really take such good care of it so you get more years out of it. Now, thankfully, music is not like, okay, you're 35, now it's done. You can keep doing this
Right.
for longer, but still, there's a little bit of that,
Although I
to
will
it.
say there are some bands out there that I wish quit at 35.
Right. Yes, sure,
I'm not
sure.
gonna mention
Things
names,
things are
but
shifting. I mean, you see a band like Cannibal Corpse, they're playing everything 10 BPM slower. I get it, I'm not
sure.
I'm not mad. These guys, like, kudos for them still doing it, but
But
you have to understand that.
what in the regard of people like Nico, who physically, no pun intended, are now missing a few beats
Who is that?
because of like Nico from Iron Maiden.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Where he
Hmm.
had the stroke, and things like Wasted Years and the Trooper
Hmm.
really aren't, they're noticeably
Yeah.
more, I would say more than 10 dB slower and stuff. So they're,
Yeah. It's
I
tricky,
mean,
man.
so it's like, where do you draw the line
Right.
on if it's like one or two songs out of a 50-year career? I think it's, I think it's doable still, but there are
Yeah, I
some
mean,
people out there that are just, I don't know. And everybbe throws that up on Lars. Let's just say that.
right, right. Lars is obviously the first one that comes to mind, but I think with Lars
Sure.
is his drumming was never so physical that there's an excuse that he can't do this at 50 anymore. We're not talking death metal, right? It's just like
Exactly.
I don't think with him it's a physical thing. It's just that frankly he probably just got a little bit too lazy and was just like, why am I putting so much effort into this? I'm gonna sell millions of records anyway. I don't need to really go the
Well,
extra mile
there's
at this point.
Yeah, well, there's that. And I think too is, just as much as where they cut parts out of songs,
Yeah.
like say, for example, there's something in No Remorse that's cut out. There's something in Four Horsemen that's cut out.
Yeah.
For years they didn't play the solo parts of Master of Puppets, the big like ending
Oh,
part.
yeah.
They only
My
did
God.
the
How can you
first
not
half of the
play that
song.
part? That's
Sure,
yeah.
but
I mean, it
no,
sucks for the
so
fans. It
it
sucks for the fans.
does. It does. And I guess that's the thing where you got to draw the line where if you're in that situation, I guess, where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, maybe I shouldn't do this anymore.
Yeah, there's
Uh
a line. There is a line for sure. If you cross that,
Randy Newman said that he's like, each record that I'm making is like a record that I've made, just not as good. And I think if you can capture that, if you know
yeah,
when that is, that
it's hard, man.
maybe you should quit. And
Hmm.
maybe so. No, I
We
don't know.
always
Fuck it.
we
Live
always have
forever.
this.
Fuck it.
Right, right. We in Defeated Sanity, we have this anecdote, right? Like, we don't want to
Sure.
be Fat Elvis. We like Fat Elvis is like the
That's
epitome
why
of.
you eat healthy, isn't it?
Exactly. And it's not even just that he was fat, it's just the whole thing. Like, you think of Fat Elvis and you think of a man who's like shouldn't be doing this anymore, and he kind of, I don't know, he got dragged through the mud by a bunch of stuff too, but also like he's not taking care of his health. He's kind of
Sure.
past his prime in many other ways in his music. He's just kind of, repeating himself at this point, maybe playing couple residency shows here and there. So anyway, that's like, for us, it's like the anecdote, like, okay, we're gonna stop before we become Fat Elvis, essentially. So
And
that's our line. But how do you know? How do you know when you're on the inside, not on the outside, right?
is Metallica Fat Elvis at this point?
Yes, 100%. To me, yes, 100%. They're playing.
Kiss was definitely Fat Elvis 40 years ago.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, all these guys are living off of fame from 30 years ago, and that's exactly what it is. That's the Fat Elvis syndrome.
Sure. It is. And you're absolutely right. And that's one of the things that I say that like they don't metal is very cannibalistic in the sense that they once you reach a certain echelon in playing that bands they cease to take out newer bands.
Yeah.
And that's really been a thing, especially over the last 20 years. Bands they don't get recognized like they should anymore.
Yeah, it's true, especially when it comes to you looking at festivals, headliners at festivals.
Sure.
Um, it's rather a band that had like two albums in the 90s than a younger band who's been like going at it for,
Yeah.
so much time and probably outselling those older bands at this point. But it's just you have to kind of have that old name fame to be headlining festivals of a certain size. That's kind of the truth.
Yeah, you're absolutely right with that. As we tangented on this, like we usually do here. That's the MO of the Metal Forge. Everything gets derailed. You mentioned something a minute ago, and now that we're back on talking about performing and everything, is you said that you all did a listening party, and that is such a lost art
Hmm.
anymore. Because
Hmm.
back in the day, that's what you did. You did
Yeah,
listening parties. You did, you know,
it was
I
in
mean,
person back then, of course.
sure, it was in person. And yeah, or I mean, but now you're doing them online or on Bandcamp or whatever, but it's still the same concept.
Hmm.
And, it allows people to gather in a chat and be able to say, "Holy shit, did you hear that? That was awesome."
Yeah,
And just do the thing. And I've actually considered wanting to promote and bring back listening parties for albums here locally in the Louisville area. I mean,
it's a great concept.
it is.
I
It
love it.
really is. It's a great meet and greet.
Hmm.
I would love to do like a listening party and then a show deal like the next night.
Hmm.
Just because it is such a cool concept. And I remember back to I was like, I was probably 26 at the time. And I had was releasing an album and I was like, we need to have a listening party for this. And it ended up getting put on like the record store was like, yeah, we could do it. And it'd be like on a Monday night or something. It's
Mm.
like, oh shit, man.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
mean
like, okay,
that's yeah,
so we took it. But I mean,
yeah,
it was a cool experience. Did a few
that's
unplugged
great.
songs.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see because, like I said earlier, with like Lucifer, and then hearing that you all had done that, it's
It's coming back.
you're not the only thing. Yeah, you're
Hmm.
not the only ones doing it. It is coming back. It's like the old is new again thing, like with cassette tapes.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Vinyl is already more fashionable than any other format again. And I
Sure.
think that it's also that, in a day and age of little sound bites and 15-second TikTok clips and short attention spans, there's always a counter trend to everything. So listening to an album front to back is kind of has become a lost art, right? Like most
Yeah.
people don't even promote albums anymore. It's only about songs, and then the song gets cut down to like an edit or a little video. So there's always
Hmm.
a counter trend. So I'm sure that just like with tapes and vinyl and other kind of lost and forgotten things that have a renaissance, that listening party could have that kind of renaissance because people now appreciate, okay, an album is a piece of art as a whole, and you need to hear it in context. So yeah,
No, you're absolutely
it could make
right.
a point. You know.
And that's one of the things that I've always tried to do with my music career is where I've tried to tie together as much of it as possibly can because it is meant to progress that story.
Yeah.
Whether or not things might be taken from real world instance. You know,
Yeah.
I think we all put stuff through the musician grinder, and we add our own spin to reality. It's like
Hmm.
art imitates life,
Yep.
or life
That's true.
imitates art, or something like that. One of those
I
things.
think
Um,
it's like first one.
I think yeah, life
Either
imitates
way,
art, something like that.
it's
I
a snake
whatever
biting
it
its
is, I'm
tail.
not
Yeah.
exactly. It's the snake eating its own tail kind of thing. So, what does 2025 look like for Defeated Sanity?
2025. So we're starting off strong with a headliner tour in Europe, which is gonna be a release tour, full albums gonna be played, plus some old songs, of course. And we kind of owe it to Europe because we haven't toured Europe since pre-pandemic. So during the
Oh,
entire
wow.
years, I know it's crazy because when Sanguinary came out in 2020, there was no touring, and then it was in 2021 and in 2022, it was still hard to tour in Europe because of there was still like some remnants of COVID related regulations
Sure.
and crossing borders. So United States was easy. Once you're in the country, you can cross state lines and you can play a full tour. Europe was not there yet. It took longer. And then we started playing shows in 2023, but just a few one-offs. We still didn't tour in Europe, and then kind of we were already working on the new album. So anyway, long story short, the first European tour since 2019 is finally happening, and it's going to be with To Violently Vomit, formerly known as Disgorge, also Putrid Pile, and a bunch of support bands that are rotating, like Iniquitous Savagery, That Are Sick, Asylum, Stranglewire, and who am I forgetting? Forgetting someone.
Uh-oh.
It will come to me later. Anyway, so it's gonna be a blast, and then from there we're moving on to a Latin America tour, which is gonna be in April and May. That's gonna be another headliner. Or taking Sinotaf out for that one, from Turkey. They're gonna be with us, and then probably some local supports. Hitting mostly everything from Mexico down. We're starting in Mexico, and then all the way down to like Chile and Argentina. And
Hell yeah.
yeah, I know I'm really excited because we've underrepresented Latin America always, unfortunately, and finally we're catching up on that. Next up, another Euro tour. Some festivals have been announced already, and Brutal Assault and Dortmund Death Fest, and some other ones are going to be announced very soon. But it's going to be a full summer festival tour with some headline shows in between. And then last but not least, and I can't say too much about that one yet, but there's going to be a US tour. I just can't say, I can't reveal anything else, but there's going to be a US tour in the fall of 2025 as well.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, a pretty damn stacked year as it is. So,
I know it's busy.
hell yeah. So, I'm going to do a new feature here on the Metal Forge. We're going to play a song in the middle of the show here. So, from Chronicles of Lunacy, what do you want to play going into this break?
Oof. Man, that's a toughie. So considering there's a few songs that are already out that people have already heard, let's pick one that people have not heard. And I would pick A Patriarchy Perverse.
Ooh, here you go. Awesome.
Okay, cool. So you're gonna
So
put that
I'm going
song
to
in
switch
there?
over. Yeah, I'm going to cut that
All
in
right,
there. We're not
cool.
going to listen to it, but I'm going to go ahead and switch over to Derailed. These are some questions about you as a person. Um, I picked these from a digital deck of cards, and yeah, it's kind of an anything goes segment.
All right, shoot.
What advice would you give yourself 3 years ago or 3 years from now?
Okay. So you're saying what advice would my 3 year
Yeah,
past self give?
if you could give yourself advice 3 years ago, what would it
Oh,
be?
okay. Okay. I think I
Or
understand.
if you think you could give yourself advice 3 years from now, what do you think it would be?
I don't think I can give it myself advice 3 years from now because I don't know what's gonna be. But giving advice to myself from 3 years ago, hmm, generally, where were we at 3 years ago? We were in 2021, at the end of 2021. So we were kind of coming out of the pandemic there. Advice, man, that's a tough one. Okay, let me just say, definitely get Vaughn Stoffi on board for Defeated Sanity. That kid rules because he wasn't on my map yet at the time. And Lila picked him up. That sounds funny, like he picked him up from kindergarten or something, but he picked him up and was saying like, hey, this guy, he's like, jazz guy, he's not quite there yet, but I wanna get him ready. And I said, okay, let's see. But I wasn't like, I wasn't sure if he was gonna make it because it's a tall order to just come from jazz and start playing brutal death metal. So, I was a little skeptical there. So yeah, 3 years later, I can say, hey man, full support right away.
Sure.
See, because he pulled it off.
Mine would be Run.
Run.
3 years
Run.
ago, 3 years ago, I would say Run.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like what run? Like a marathon or?
No, like instead of making some decisions that I shouldn't have made, just run from it.
I see.
Yeah, don't make that
Okay.
decision.
Okay.
Have you ever
Fair.
accidentally injured somebody?
Definitely. Now let me think if yeah, I mean, I mean, I shoved my brother once when we were children and he
Wait, what? You shot him?
I shoved.
Oh, shoved. Oh,
I
shoved.
shoved.
I was like,
I shoved my brother and he fell off of a tree log that we were standing on
oh
and
shit.
hit another tree and like broke his wrist or something or his hand from like nothing, like completely just tomfoolery, nothing,
Yeah.
just like, obviously that was not intended.
Did you get in trouble?
Not really, I played innocent. And I felt that way anyway. It was not, I wasn't trying to do any harm, it's like literally I did not see that coming at all. That would lead to an injury. But yeah, that's an example that's coming to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one that sticks out to me is I was walking to the school bus with a friend, and we kind of did the mercy knuckles lock, right? Like,
What's that?
it's like where you lock knuckles together and you kind of like leverage each other.
Mm. Oh yeah. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So you're leaning from another or
yeah, we're leaning where you lean against each other and you try to
uh-huh.
strength overpower each other, right?
Right. Okay.
And went a little bit too far and almost broke his fingers,
Ooh.
and I felt really bad. I still feel really bad about that to this day.
Yeah, no,
Um,
bet.
Sorry, bringing up another question here.
Uh-huh.
If aliens attack, what would you do?
What would I do? Um, well, I would probably, I mean, if they're attacking, then I guess it's already assumed that they're not friendly and that there's not necessarily a chance of, trying to communicate or cooperate at this point. So what would I do? I'd probably run to the woods and
Sure.
just kind of, I mean, what else are you gonna do? It's fucking aliens. Just
Right.
hide
It's like
somewhere.
yeah, you know the terrain, or you know what's here
Yeah,
at
find a
least.
cave or something.
Yeah, you know what's gonna, you know how to survive against stuff here on Earth, like
Yeah,
bears
But
bears and skunks and
however, if we were still in the communication phase, right? If they weren't full on attacking yet, if they were like, just arriving, maybe show them some death metal, maybe see their take, see what happens.
sure. Like in Mars Attacks, maybe it's the death
Yeah,
metal that pops their
maybe
heads.
maybe that's the secret weapon. That
That's
could also be
it.
true. Yeah. Or
God.
they just fall in love with it so much that they're like suddenly worshiping Morbid Angel and Cannibal Corpse and we're like gods
And
to them,
death, yeah.
and Death and all these bands, yeah.
Do you think they would get mad? A little side note here. Do you think they would get mad over tribute bands?
Yeah, like I Am Morbid and stuff, or like the
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Do you think they would
yeah,
get mad over stuff like that? Like
they
music, like musicians tend to get mad over cover
could,
bands and tribute
but then
bands.
but then they would also have to get mad over like graveyard classics and stuff like that. They would have to get mad over Saint Anger, they would have to get mad over a lot of things, and they should.
I could see aliens getting mad over Saint Anger. I mean, really, I could.
If anything,
I'm
they'll lose all respect for us as a race, as a species. And they'll just terminate us right then.
Dude, so recently I watched a Tama video with Lars on it,
Oh yeah.
and he's going through his drum sets over the years, reminiscing of like, oh, this was on the Justice tour, this was on the Black album, this was on this.
Yeah.
And
They showed the Saint Anger one.
they did. And he said, this one actually has my first ever signature snare.
Oh my God. Is it true that they didn't have a resonating head on the snare? That's why it sounds like shit. I said I never.
I think it didn't have the resonation head, and I think it was
Uh,
tuned so tight,
yeah,
and the snares, I believe, are off on it.
yeah. There's no snares. It's just going, going, going. There's no
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah,
Clong is
claw.
what I call
Mhm.
it.
Yeah,
Um,
hollowness.
yeah, I mean, honestly, maybe that's the reason why aliens have left us.
Yeah, that's the reason why they're not.
They
Yeah,
said
they've
Saint
given up on
Anger?
us.
No. Fuck that.
Yeah,
No,
abandoned ship.
definitely not. Um, when was the last time a movie made you cry?
Hmm. Just think that I actively remember a movie made me cry. See, I'm really bad with my feelings, as you can tell. I suppress them. Um, I mean, I definitely cried when I saw Schindler's List the first time. I remember that. But that's so long ago that can't be the last time. That's a
Sure.
tough one.
Yeah, I
Okay, I'm
mean,
gonna I'm gonna just say something really embarrassing here. I'm gonna completely embarrass myself.
go
And
for
this
it.
is
That's
this
what
is
this is
this
all
is
about.
this is a secondhand memory. This is something that my parents would tell me that I did and would like I don't want to say make fun of me, but maybe a little bit later on. So when I
Sure.
was like 4 or 5 years old, we went to the movie theater and we saw Beauty and the Beast, and apparently I cried my eyes out.
No.
That's one.
Damn.
Um, and that's not so typical because I don't really like, yeah, like I said, I don't really get all that emotional during movies. Oftentimes, I guess I dissociate enough from the pictures. Um, but yeah, no, I remember that. You know what? I mean, there's a bunch of movies like that, like Schindler's List. I think The Pianist definitely gave me some
Mm,
watery eyes for sure.
sure.
Um, yeah, Life is Beautiful is another one of those movies, World War II related movies that's really really heart touching.
Yeah, I tend to get the misty eyes on, when it's somebody who dies unjustly in a film.
Yes, of course, yeah. It
Yeah,
usually
that's where
is
mine usually
somebody.
come from. But then
Hmm.
again, I don't know if the sociopathic thing kicks in, and when it's somebody who really is justified, and they finally get it in their way in the film or whatever, it's like,
That usually
yeah,
feels good.
you motherfucker.
You had it coming. Yeah, no, usually it's the innocent people, whether it's like just good people or kids. When you that
uh the
that hurts the
scene that
most.
always gets me, the scene that always gets me, and I've only watched this film
Hmm.
one time because of this, is The Patriot with Mel Gibson.
Okay, I'm not too familiar with that movie. I know it exists, and I think I've watched it. It's a
There
long
is a
time
scene
ago.
where Jason Isaacs
Hmm.
is in it, and he's of course the he's not Cornwallis, but he's one of the uh, uh, redcoats in it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
And he burns a whole town in a church. He like
Wow.
locks them in a church
Yeah.
and burns the church down around them.
Oh,
And
wow.
it pisses me off so fucking much.
Yeah. Fuck. That's like
That
that.
li-
That was in another movie too. That exact same thing, but it was like another like Nazi flick where like the Nazis did that to like a bunch of Jews.
yeah. And like it's one of those scenes that is just so visceral to me that I'm like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I yeah,
That's And I mean, and it's good filmmaking. If it really touches you and gets your eyes watery, it usually means that they successfully made you connect with these people. Because
sure.
sometimes I watch movies and I feel like I should be really like feeling more sad, but it's just that the movie just didn't do a good job selling me these characters as actual human, with an actual human connection, not just a bunch of actors on a screen, right? So they have to
Sure.
really they have to make you forget that you're looking at actors. They have to make you forget that this is a film set. Because like I said, sometimes I dissociate from the movie more so that I know, okay, like I know I'm watching a movie, but you have to
Sure.
forget that you're watching a movie, right? And that's when you can really get drawn
And
in.
that right there is exactly how I perceive music.
Yeah, interesting.
I look past that this is a guy or a girl or whoever playing an instrument and listening to the musicality of what's going on and get transported into it. If I can lose time in something, then
Hmm.
it's amazing.
Yeah,
If
I mean
it,
that's the
it
best. Yeah.
Yeah, and recently I have, there's been a few albums I've in at least in 2024 that I've got that are going to be on the list for this that were on the list for this year that it had done that.
Mhm.
And
Which ones?
it's just an amazing thing.
So,
What's that?
which ones
Did you
would you say?
I can't give them all out yet because
Okay.
that episode hasn't actually aired yet, but I
Uh,
do know so for example, Sun Raven from Grand Magus
mm-hmm. Okay.
came out this year and is completely, to me anyways, an immersive album.
So,
And
Grant
I
Magus, is that like a Doom kind of band?
They are, yeah. They're kind
Right?
of like a
Yeah.
power doom, like like
Mm-hmm.
the sword, uh,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah. So I have one more question, but before we do, always links are listed below. So please give likes, shares, and follows. Go do the things and all the stuff. Go buy merch, go see on tour, support in any and every way you can, because that's where it fucking matters, is pushing your faces against the fucking speakers and blowing your brains out, as Ian the Shark would say in Airheads. I love that
Oh
film
yeah,
too.
that's a great movie.
Um,
Yes.
it is. It really is. I mean, it makes being in a band fun. It's almost
Yeah.
like this is Spinal Tap for the 90s.
Yes. Really is. Yeah,
And
for sure.
just as much
Got
as
the appeal.
films like Metal Lords are this is Spinal Tap for um uh the 2000s and the 2010s, these generations. But yeah, fun, total fun stuff. Dude, Jacob, do you have any shout outs or anything else you would like to promote today?
Um, Shout outs. Well, just 2 days. Well, now when you're listening to this, the album's already gonna be out, so I can't really say that. But anyway, I hope by now you've heard it and you like it and you think it kicks ass and you wanna come to a show and start a mosh pit. You'll be our guest, and maybe if you buy a T-shirt or a CD, then it pays our mileage. So
Yeah, for sure.
anyway, just hoping that yeah, I can see a lot of your faces on tour very soon.
Hell yeah, definitely, dude. Again, and thank you for coming to the Metal Forge this week. This has been awesome. My final question of the day is, do you think the benefits to sending people to space outweigh the risks?
I think that they might, but that's a very personal question because the people who are being sent out to space, they would have to answer that, obviously. So if
Sure,
somebody was to ask me, hey, we have a 1% shot of saving mankind, stopping global warming, whatever, but we need you to go to space and so it's a 1% chance that you're going to save mankind, but there's only a 20%
99.
chance that you're gonna survive or less or whatever. Would I do
Wow.
that? Probably not, personally. But if
That's a
somebody,
lot to that's a lot
right,
to get, yeah.
right? I mean, it's like how much, the risk and the reward, how much correlation does there have to be? How much I mean, if you're risking your life, you want the reward to be pretty certain, right? You want to know, okay, let's just say like Armageddon. Yes, you're gonna save the planet, but you're gonna have to die, and then you're gonna be the hero if you do it. But I mean, you're gonna be the hero anyway, but nobody will remember if the planet goes to shit and everybody dies, and you died
Sure.
up there, whatever.
Yeah, like you
It's
couldn't
such
get
a
like the job couldn't get done. Yeah.
it's such a theoretical question. I think that for some people, that have the thrill and the adventure in them, that they kind of want to explore it for themselves, it might be worth any risks. But for somebody who has no interest in, going up into space, like most people, I would imagine, wouldn't want to put themselves into that situation. It would be hard to convince them that, that there might be benefits outweighing your loss of life. I'm not sure. But yeah, I don't know. It's very theoretical. Very theoretical.
I'd probably be the one to say, you know what? Get me the
Sent
fuck
me.
out of here. Send me, get
Yeah.
me the fuck away from here. Like I've looked up
Yeah.
places to vacation that are the most secluded in the United States.
Okay, well,
Uh,
that's a little different.
yeah, that
I
is.
mean, sending you to
Yeah,
Mars is like, I don't know, man. It's like sending you into the Sahara Desert without water. It's like that. Good luck. Um,
exactly. It is. Uh, but yeah, you're totally right on that. So, dude, Jacob, again, thank you so much. This has been an awesome conversation with you. On our way
yeah,
out
thanks for
today,
having me.
we're gonna do another song uh, from your career in Defeated Sanity. What do you want to play?
So we're talking about an older song.
Anything you want.
Okay. Let's go with the deep cut because, just because, and let's go with the purging from Passages into Deformity.
Hell yeah, you heard him. This is the purging.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. 45 years in keeping Louisville weird, Electric Ladyland has been there for all your eccentricities. While they do offer the best smoking supplies out on the market today, there's a whole lot more to check out. From ashtrays and blacklight posters, to records, incense and burners, and items to stock your metaphysical supply. They're open from 10 to 10, 7 days a week, located at 2325 Bardstown Road in Louisville, Kentucky, and at electricladyland420.com. Roll out.
Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey metalheads, after going to a rager, what's your ultimate go-to? Mine is totally pizza. So when Overload is playing, or I'm promoting the Metal Forge live showcases, or the big goddamn metal show, I go to Pizza DoNisi. Pizza DoNisi is gourmet artisan pizza from right here in Louisville, Kentucky. It features things like the pizza of the month, to sandwiches, and also vegetarian and vegan options, which is so totally fucking cool for all of it's awesome pizza. You definitely want to go. Hey, and also from time to time they do cannolis. Oh, so fucking good. You know what they said, man? Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Yeah, just like that in Godfather. They're located right next to the Mag Bar at 1396 South 2nd Street. So either stop in or call in at 502-213-0488. They're open till midnight. The witching hour.
Heineken, fuck that shit! Pabst Blue Ribbon!
Hey metalheads, you all hear me talk about Mag Bar all the time. It is the home to the Metal Forge live showcases and is an integral stop in the ultimate underground metal tour schedule. They obviously feature live music, but the Mag Bar also has daily specials like Pint and Slice Night on Tuesdays with Pizza DoNisi. But they also do Bring Your Own Vinyl on Thursdays with DJ Kent Jackson, and Finer Things Sundays. Located right next to Pizza DoNisi at 1398 South 2nd Street, open 3 p.m. to 4 a.m. 7 days a week. Get your asses out to the Mag Bar. Rock out. In 2017, one man's vision and passion for all things metal started out as a record store in his house. Years later, the fight against a mainstream empire continues as Shadebeast. An independent metal collective and online store based in Athens, Georgia, is the world's premier heavy metal brand for music heads that value authenticity over the mainstream acceptance. Featuring original t-shirts from some of the best underground artists, as well as stickers,
posters from the Shadebeast Presents concert series. Unique, one-of-a-kind collectibles and small curated selection of vinyl and cassettes from the masters old and new. Visit shadebeast.com and enter promo code SithLord for free domestic shipping on your first order, whether you're a new customer or returning. And be sure to join the Shadebeast social groups on Facebook and the interwebs to keep up with the new release announcements and talk all things metal and Star Wars. You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and filth.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The Sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Since 2013, there has been a calling from the underground, from the graves of all those unholy, and they decided to make a zine to talk about all of this. Soul Grinder Zine! An independent metal zine to keep you informed on all things metal and horror from the underground. Available in both print and digital formats, they're bringing you the best interviews and reviews out there today. Not only do they do the zine, but they also do compilation CDs. Check them out at facebook.com/soulgrinder.zine and start your subscription now. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com.
What's up, Metal Forge fans? This is Alan Bishop, the alchemist of Indiana's Black Forest and head distiller at Spirits of French Lick. Do you find yourself drawn to the unexplained, fascinated by the Fortean, or enchanted by the paranormal? If the things that go bump in the night resonate in your mind, then tune into my brand new podcast, If You Have Ghosts, You Have Everything. Featuring first-hand accounts, collected stories, interviews, history, and speculation related to all things not of this world. Available now on Anchor, Spotify, Google, Amazon, and more. Sit back, relax, and remember, if you have ghosts, you have everything.
Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code METALFORGE10 to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now.